What if the world didn't need oil? What if, decades ago, someone figured out how to power a car using nothing but water, and then died under suspicious circumstances? This is the story of Stanley Meyer, an American inventor who claimed he developed a revolutionary fuel cell that could run a car on water. A man who believed he held the key to ending the world's reliance on fossil fuels. And perhaps, a man who knew too much. But was he a brilliant innovator silenced by powerful interests? Or just a charismatic conman with a bold, impossible dream? The deeper you dig, the stranger the story becomes. Let's go back to the 1980s. Stanley Meyer, from Grove City, Ohio, was not a trained scientist. He didn't hold advanced degrees. But he was an inventor driven, self-taught, and deeply passionate about energy independence. Like many inventors of his time, he believed the world was overdue for a breakthrough. And he thought he had found it. Meyer claimed he had created a device called the water fuel cell, a system that could split ordinary water into hydrogen and oxygen using an extremely small amount of electricity. The hydrogen gas would then be used to power a combustion engine, and the only emission? Water vapor. It sounded like the energy miracle the world was waiting for. In demonstrations, Meyer showed off his modified dune buggy, reportedly running on nothing but water. Journalists and local news stations covered it. There's actual footage of the vehicle in operation, with Meyer confidently explaining that his invention could change everything. He said it could work with any kind of water, tap water, seawater, even rainwater. No gasoline required. The implications were staggering. Imagine a world where any vehicle could be powered by the most abundant resource on Earth. No more gas stations. No more oil imports. No more pollution. Just clean burning hydrogen made on the go. Naturally, the claim attracted attention. Lots of it. Local engineers were intrigued. The US military reportedly sent officials to speak with him. He claimed to have interest from countries abroad. Investors began circling, hoping to get in on the ground floor of what could be the next industrial revolution. But while Meyer was convincing the public, scientists were far more skeptical. There's a fundamental problem: basic physics. The process of electrolysis, splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen, consumes more energy than it yields. You can't get more energy out of hydrogen than it took to extract it. This is based on the first and second laws of thermodynamics, concepts every high school physics student is expected to learn. In simple terms, it's not just inefficient. It's impossible. At least using traditional science. But Meyer claimed his system wasn't traditional electrolysis. He said he had discovered a way to split water molecules using a technique he called resonant electrolysis. Instead of brute force electricity, his method supposedly used high-frequency voltage to resonate with the water molecules, reducing the energy required to break them apart. According to him, this method allowed his system to produce usable hydrogen on demand, with much less electricity input than science said was necessary. However, he never released a detailed scientific explanation. His patents were vague. And independent experts were not able to replicate the results. Still, in 1990, Meyer was granted a US patent for a method for the production of a fuel gas. It's important to note that patent approval does not confirm that a technology works, it just means the idea is original and feasible on paper. The US Patent Office doesn't test for functionality. Despite the criticism, Meyer continued to build public support. He gave presentations, claimed to have multiple working prototypes, and described a future powered by water. Entire cities running on hydrogen. Home generators, industrial machinery, even aircraft, all powered by his invention. He said his invention had global implications and that he had been approached by oil companies and foreign governments offering him large sums of money to bury the technology. But he refused to sell out. That's when things started to unravel. In 1996, two investors filed a lawsuit against Meyer. They claimed they had given him $25,000 to build a working prototype of the fuel cell and never received it. Meyer, in turn, claimed that they were part of an orchestrated attempt to suppress his technology, accusing them of espionage and sabotage. But in court, the evidence didn't back him up. Under oath, he was asked to demonstrate a working model of the fuel cell. He failed to do so convincingly. An expert witness testified that the device was simply using conventional electrolysis and not achieving anything unusual. The judge ruled against Meyer, labeling his invention a fraudulent claim. He was ordered to repay the investors. Many believed that this would be the end of his story. But then, 2 years later, something strange happened. On March 20, 1998, Stanley Meyer was having dinner at a restaurant in Grove City with his brother Stephen and two Belgian investors. According to reports, during the meal, Meyer took a sip of cranberry juice, suddenly clutched his throat, and ran out into the parking lot, gasping for air. He collapsed. His brother rushed outside and held him as he died. Meyer's reported final words? "They poisoned me." The official cause of death was a cerebral aneurysm. No signs of foul play. The police closed the case quickly. No toxicology screen was performed beyond what was required. No investigation into the claim of poisoning. To the authorities, it was a tragic, natural death. Nothing more. But to many, especially those who followed his work, the timing was too perfect. Too convenient. Meyer had reportedly just secured funding to move forward with large-scale production. He believed his technology was finally going to market. He was also reportedly under increasing surveillance and pressure. And then, he died. For believers, it was confirmation: Stanley Meyer was silenced before his invention could change the world. Because if his invention did work, if he had truly found a way to power vehicles using water, then the implications would have been catastrophic for the existing energy structure. Think about it. The oil industry is worth trillions. Entire economies are built on petroleum. Wars have been fought over it. Political power, wealth distribution, infrastructure, all connected to oil. A cheap, decentralized alternative fuel source could threaten that system. And throughout history, there are examples of suppression. Whether it's electric cars being buried in the early 20th century, or tobacco companies hiding health risks, or Exxon reportedly knowing about climate change since the 1970s, there's a long record of corporations and governments hiding inconvenient truths. Could Stanley Meyer have been another name on that list? It's difficult to say for certain. After his death, no fully functional water fuel cell was recovered. No one has independently replicated his results. His brother Stephen claims that some of Stanley's lab equipment and notes disappeared shortly after his death. Whether stolen, seized, or simply lost, no one knows. And yet, even today, Meyer's story continues to inspire people around the world. He's become something of a cult figure in the world of alternative energy. Forums, YouTube channels, amateur inventors, all trying to reverse engineer his technology. Some claim to have succeeded. Others believe the secret is lost forever. But the myth lives on. Because it's not just about the science. It's about what it represents. The possibility that there are solutions out there, better, cleaner, freer ways to live, that never make it to the public. That innovation doesn't always rise to the top. That sometimes, the system works to protect itself, not the people it serves. Maybe Stanley Meyer was a fraud. Maybe he was wrong. But maybe he really did discover something incredible. And maybe we'll never know, because the truth died with him that night in 1998. In the end, Stanley Meyer's story leaves us with more questions than answers. But one thing is certain: in a world addicted to fossil fuels, where the price of oil still dictates the fate of nations, the idea of a water-powered car remains both a dream and a threat. Because sometimes, the most dangerous thing in the world is an idea whose time has come.